brought to you by the Romani Eye Institute. It features David DeJesus leading off field, playing in left field. Willie Bloomquist is in center field. Billy Butler hitting third at first base. Miguel Olivo will clean up today. Alberto Callaspo, an 18 hitting streak going right now. Mark Teahan is in right. Brian Pena, Alex Gordon, and Yuniesky Betancourt are your bottom three for KC. Here is the Dodge scouting report on Jared Washburn.
Well, Washburn's still looking for that first victory as a Tiger, and hopefully he gets that tonight. Location will be the key with Washburn. First pitch strikes, he has to work ahead. And he has faced the Royals quite a bit in the last few years and has compiled 5 quality starts in the last 5 times he's seen them.
Well, let's see if he can make it 6 for 6. And there's a strike on David DeJesus, who leads it off for the Royals. It is an 82-degree night here at the ballpark. Absolutely beautiful. A little bit of a breeze, not much. DeJesus batting .266. He's hit safely in his last 3. And Washburn hits the outside corner, 0-2.
Washburn has been real good this year against left-handed batters. Left-handers hitting just 181 against Washburn.
Jared in search of his first win as a Tiger. Won 8 ball games with Seattle. And he just missed again. He tried to go out there one more time, but this time a little bit wide. DeJesus, Bloomquist, and Butler, the top 3 in the lineup for the Royals here in the first inning. Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. David DeJesus, since July the 1st, has been hitting left-handed pitching pretty well. And while Washburn is good against left-handed batters, DeJesus batting .339 against lefties in that span. Now the 2-2 pitch. Lifted in the air toward right center field. Clay Thomas coming on, and 1 gone.
Let's take a look at the Tigers' defense behind Washburn in this game. You've got Timms, Granderson, and Thomas in the outfield. Inge back in there today. He did not start in yesterday's game. Everett at short, Polanco's at second, Cabrera at first, Laird behind the plate. And you know by now that Jared Washburn making his 3rd consecutive start at home for his new team, the Tigers.
Now Willie Bloomquist in the 2 spot for the Royals, batting .257. Washburn throws it right down the middle, 0-1.
Last time we saw the Kansas City Royals, they did not have a shortstop. Bloomquist was occupying that position, but now they have Yuniesky Betancourt that's playing short. But Trey Hillman continues to find ways for Bloomquist to play.
Been kind of a super sub in his days with the Seattle Mariners, and now here with Kansas City. He spent 7 years with Seattle, did Bloomquist.
Trey shaved that big old mustache off.
The 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Bloomquist, who was signed as a free agent in January. Can play the infield, can play the outfield positions as well. He is in center field tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's lifted toward right foul.
The key for Washburn in this game is to do exactly as he has done against the first 2 hitters, DeJesus and Bloomquist. You have to get ahead. When you're not overpowering and you don't have that powerful fastball like a Verlander or a Jackson that you can throw by big league hitters in fastball counts, it's imperative that you work ahead. That allows you to expand the strike zone when you do get ahead of some of these Kansas City Royals hitters.
Swing and a miss. Down he goes, and Washburn has his first strikeout. Cleveland said before the game today that he felt in his first start Washburn was pressing a little bit. Obviously coming to a new city in the middle of a pennant race, you want to impress, getting used to your new surroundings. He says he really thinks he's going to go out and pitch a nice ball game tonight.
Washburn said as much about his first outing as a Tiger. Yeah, the ball here, the last couple of series at Comerica Park has been flying out of the ballpark. Washburn has given up 4 home runs, but he's not the only one. There's been a lot of balls flying out of Comerica Park.
Well, which brings up a good point. I was talking to him the other day in Boston. He said, when I was in Seattle, obviously you pitch to center field there because it's so deep. And the same thing here at 420, but they were flying out of here in his last start. A couple of them to center field.
Sweet swinging Billy Butler.
That's hit in the air to the right side of the infield. Polanco to the grass, and an easy 1-2-3 inning for Jared Washburn. Nice start tonight for the Tigers lefty. Baseball here at Comerica Park. His starting lineup tonight is presented by Big Boy. Curtis Granderson leads it off in center, followed by Placido Polanco. Tough guy to strike out. Clee Thomas hitting third. Miguel Cabrera will clean up. Carlos Guillen is the DH. Marcus out in left field. Your bottom three features Inge, Laird, and Adam Everett tonight for Detroit. The Bernstein Advantage brings you the scouting report on Zach Greinke. Get the Bernstein Advantage. We go to bat for you.
Well, Greinke still gets his name mentioned in the conversation, and that would be the Cy Young conversation, along with guys like Halladay, Verlander, Josh Beckett. But command has been an issue of late for Greinke, and it usually is not the case. He has walked 5 in his last 2, but he's awfully comfy here at Comerica Park. 6-3 lifetime with an earned run average under 2.88. He is really good.
Well, he will face Curtis Granderson here to start things off. Tigers trying to get the offense going. They had to scrape for a couple of runs yesterday in Boston to beat the Red Sox behind Verlander, who was outstanding last night, 2-0, or yesterday as it was.
You got to get Greinke early, as most great pitchers. You have to jump on him in that first couple of innings. If you don't, you allow him to settle in. It's usually a long night. And that's what they did. That's what they did against Greinke the last time they saw him, and they beat him. They scored 2 runs in the first. They scored 1 more in the second, and that was all they needed, and that was all they got.
It was a 3-1 ball game that time. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Mr. Granderson. Curtis had just a couple of hits in that 4-game series in Boston. The Tigers as a team really had troubles at Fenway Park, and Greinke has his first strikeouts.
Let's take a look at the Honda Bloomfield defense behind the very talented Zach Greinke. 119-game airless streak for the Jesus in left. You got Bloomquist in center. Tien back in right after spending the majority of the year at third base, while Alex Gordon was getting healthy. Betancourt, Unieski at short. Cayasco at second. Billy Butler at first. And Miguel Olivo is behind the plate.
Some jamming music there.
That was nice. Had a little beat to it. I saw you bobbing and weaving over there.
Here's Placido Polanco now with 1 out. Polanco batting .274. Has had good numbers this year against Royals pitching.
And by now, if you don't know about Greinke, he's got the mid-90s fastball with exceptional command to both sides of the plate at the knees, and usually throws strikes when he wants to. And that's the kind of command that the young man has.
Right down the middle at 92 miles an hour that time. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He said he feels like he's getting back on track. I told you he has walked 5 in his last 2 starts, but he says the command is starting to come back a little bit. And Greinke said earlier this year, his first 10 starts of the year, he could throw a ball on purpose, knowing that that very next pitch he could locate whatever he wanted to throw to whatever hitter it was on the next offer.
And Polanco goes down on strikes as he tips it into the glove of Olivo, and Placido, who rarely strikes out, is out number 2.
It looks like Greinke's brought his A game. He's coming out here on a mission today. 95 with that fastball, but it'll look a little slower here in Lincoln Mercury Exmo. Boy, does he throw downhill. He's got a nice arm slot, and that ball, when it leaves his hand, it's just coming downhill toward the hitter.
Here's Cleet Thomas. Seems like Greinke has been around forever, and he is only 25 years old, a native of Orlando, Florida. His 0-1 pitch. Thomas slaps a breaking ball out of play, 0-2.
This is for bragging rights right here. Greinke and Thomas were once teammates playing in Florida. Travel ball. Some of the names that Thomas has told me of the guys that he played with down in Florida. Remarkable.
Wave and a miss, and Greinke strikes out the side. Well, quick start for Zach Greinke. We'll go to the second. Your Motor City Dodge dealers. Comcast with over 10,000 on-demand choices, more than anyone. And by Arby's Bacon Cheddar Roast Burger Sandwich. Try it today. It'll have you saying, I'm thinking Arby's. Back here at Comerica Park. We're in downtown Detroit tonight. Game 1 in this 3-game series featuring the Tigers and the Royals. And Jared Washburn back to the hill in the second inning facing Miguel Olivo of the Royals. It'll be Olivo, Callaspo, and Martin. Nice 1-2-3 inning for Jared Washburn in the first. He picked up 1 strikeout along the way. And the 1-0 to Olivo. Off speed, 1-1.
Good location. If you can throw that pitch, 1 ball, no strikes, you're going to get lots of swings and misses. Olivo's got nice power numbers. 16 home runs, 42 driven in.
And the 16 homers trail only Joe Mauer and Victor Martinez for American League catchers in that category. Although, as we talked about in Boston, I'm not sure Martinez can be called exclusively a catcher anymore. The 16 home runs, impressive for Olivo. The 2-1. 2-2 on the Royals catcher. Olivo and Buck, the catching tandem for Kansas City. Olivo has been a better thrower in terms of throwing runners out behind the plate. He's also had a more productive year offensively, too. Stands right on top of the dish. He pulls that one foul. 2-2, the count stays on Miguel Olivo. Everybody all right down there? That one caught him right in the elbow. Give that man some ice before that thing puffs up. Washburn missing low and away, 3-2. That area where he's sitting in should be relatively safe with a right-handed batter up there, but wow. Olivo really hooked one, and he saved the ladies behind him. Ball's hit well, but Marcus will run it down into the left center field gap. One gone. What do we have for the text poll question tonight? Which is your favorite attraction at Comerica Park? Is it A, the carousel, B, the Ferris wheel, C, the statues in the outfield, or D, the Walk of Fame display? You can text A, B, C, or D to 37338, and we'll have the final results. Tigers Live. Myself, I'd vote for C. I think statues are cool.
Absolutely.
That's not bad right there. That's hit to third. Brandon gobbles it up. Callaspo is out, 2 gone. So 5 up, 5 down against the lefty Washburn. And that'll bring up Mark Teahan. Teahan at 278 is in a power drought. He has 9 home runs this year, but has not hit one since June the 26th. Strike one. Looks like Washburn route has had much better location tonight.
He's working on the corners. It's the Washburn that the Tigers traded for. Good command of all 4 pitches. Little running fastball right there, sinker ball variety on the inside part of the plate that Teahan was able to lay off of.
Swing and a miss.
I like that, doubling up with the fastball in. You don't usually see guys in the 88 mile per hour range that will go back inside on consecutive pitches, but it looks like Washburn has a really nice game plan here tonight. 3 times in a row.
2-2. Washburn looking for another 1-2-3 inning. And he has it. Swing and a miss. Second strikeout of the game for Jarrett. 6 up, 6 down against the Tigers lefty.
Strikes Granderson out with a slider, nasty slider. Then he comes back with a fastball against Polanco and also against Clete Thomas. He strikes out the side in the first.
First pitch to Miguel Cabrera is rolled to the shortstop, and Betancourt will throw him out. 1 pitch, 1 away. So 4 straight have gone down against Greinke.
Greinke, at the beginning of the year, really wasn't throwing that real slow breaking ball that he just threw to Cabrera. But his last few starts, he's been throwing a few of those. That was at 72 miles an hour. And he has the uncanny ability with that pitch to almost always throw it for a strike.
Here's Carlos Guillen. Carlos was just 2 for 14 in the Boston series. And a strike on the outer edge, 0-1. 282 average since returning from the disabled list. The 0-1 pitch. Carlos has hit 3 home runs this year. The hope is that he will provide the Tigers offense with some power down the stretch. He's now getting quite a few at-bats and has been back for a little while now, still trying to feel his way through after missing 68 games with that shoulder injury. A couple of guys in this game tonight have been out for a while. Alex Gordon missed a ton of games for the Royals, their third baseman. Now the 1-2. That'll go foul, back out of play.
That's a nice job by Guillen spoiling a really good pitch by Greinke. A mid-90s fastball on the black outside. You really can't do a whole lot with it. You simply try to foul it off, and you hope that Greinke makes some kind of a mistake up in the strike zone. Here comes that slider. Very seldom does he throw it for a strike. He does that time. When Greinke throws his slider, it's usually down and into the left-handers, down and away to the right-handers, very seldom in the strike zone. But hitters have a really difficult time of not swinging at that pitch because it looks like a strike all the way until the last possible moment.
Now the count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Greinke pitched in the All-Star game this year and was one of a myriad of outstanding American League pitchers. He had a 1, 2, 3, 4th inning and needed just 10 pitches to dispatch the National League. How many did Jackson throw? Do you remember in his inning?
4, I believe.
Is that it?
Yes. The American League ran some serious arms at the National League. Beckett, Greinke, Halladay, Jackson, Papelbon, Rivera, and Nathan. How would you like to hit off of that?
No, thank you.
One every inning, too.
Out pass. Grounded foul.
Well, against guys like Greinke, and Jim Leland talks about him a lot. The Tigers had a chance to see one just a couple of days ago in Josh Beckett. A lot of times you're not going to get tons of hits off of these guys, but you have to outcompete them. And then when you get some runners on base, you have to manufacture some runs because they do a lot of things right. Holding runners, fielding their positions. And Greinke's a really good athlete.
There's ball 4. First Tigers base runner of the evening. By the way, this game is available in crystal clear high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD, sponsored by Comcast. So Guillen reaches with a 1-out walk. He's going to bring up Marcus Thames, who's playing out in left field tonight. Marcus at 257. A couple of home runs this year. In fact, both of his hits against the Royals this year are homers. Greinke misses outside and spun off the mound.
It looked like he slipped.
Go make sure he's all right. That was kind of awkward looking. Want to know on Marcus Thames.
Greinke, you said was 25, but he looks all of 18 years old.
He still does. He's had that same look since he came to the big leagues. Very youthful look. That's popped straight up. Here comes the second baseman, Callaspo, to the grass. 2 gone.
Hey fans, Saturday afternoons were made for baseball. This week Fox features Travis Hafner and the Indians And they're taking on Joe Mauer and the Minnesota Twins in an AL Central clash. Fox Saturday Baseball starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. on your local Fox station. The Royals just took a series from the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. And it was their first series victory since June.
And that came against a National League club. The last time they won a series against an American League team, you got to go all the way back to the month of May.
Wow. Well, that's obviously one of the big reasons why they came in at 45 and 69 tonight.
They don't usually score lots of runs for Greinke. They're averaging just a shade over 3.5 runs per start for Zach. And one of the reasons why he does not have more wins.
Brandon Inge fouls it straight back. 1 ball, 1 strike, and the Tigers' third baseman. Well, the Royals played so well last September. They were 18-8 last September. They started this year 12-10 in the month of April, and it looked like Trey Hillman had the train on the right track, but it has since derailed. Only 45 victories. Inge takes a strike.
They've had to battle some injuries, and you brought up one, Alex Gordon. Has missed a lot of time. Coco Crisp, they traded for him to play center field. He is out for the year. Jose Guillen, their outfielder and one of their producers as far as hitting, has been injured often this year. It's tough to win when you're missing pieces like that.
Absolutely, and Zach Greinke can only carry you so far. There's Gordon, the Royals' third baseman who missed a bunch of ball games. 79 to be exact. Two and 2 on Brandon Inge. Tigers have a runner on with 2 outs. And that's popped up as well into shallow right field. Martin coming on. And that is that for Detroit. They get a walk, strand a man. We played 2, no score. And by AT&T, your world delivered. Back here at Comerica Park in downtown Detroit, there's Rick Porcello, who is watching the game from one of the suites here tonight, serving out his 5-game suspension. So Porcello unable to be dressed while he is serving his suspension. And he'll be back in uniform soon. In the meantime, his fans look on here tonight as the Tigers and Royals get together for Game 1 in this series. Brian Pena leads it off here in the third. It'll be Pena, Gordon, and Unieski Betancourt. Jared Washburn has faced 6 batters. He has struck out 2 of them, and he's gotten all 6. Pena batting .314. He's had a couple of pinch hit efforts against the Tigers this year, 0 for 2, and Washburn misses.
Washburn also 6 of 7 in first pitch strikes, which is exactly what the doctor ordered. Get ahead, change the eye levels, work at the bottom of the strike zone. and expand the strike zone as well.
Just missed. 2-1. The home plate umpire, Ed Rapuano, gave it a good long look.
Gerald Laird is talking to Ed Rapuano about that pitch. You really can't tell that, but I could tell. You see him nodding his head, but Gerald was still looking out at the pitcher.
High fly to center field, chasing Granderson back.
If you're a catcher and you have a beef about a call, as he did about that fastball that he thought was a strike, you simply continue to look out at the pitcher while you're talking to the umpire. They appreciate that a whole lot more. Got a smile out of Rapuano.
Chuckling right now. That's a good thing.
I saw something yesterday, though, after Verlander twirled that absolute magnificent game in Boston that I don't think I've ever seen, Mario.
What's that?
Scott Berry was a home plate umpire yesterday, and usually, pitchers after they throw a game, they'll kind of nod to the home plate umpire and say, nice game.
Right.
Looked like Scott Berry got out there in the Tigers line as they were shaking hands, walking off the field to shake Verlander's hand.
Seriously?
Did you see that?
No.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, a guy that was throwing 100 miles an hour in the 8th inning probably deserved a handshake. That was impressive.
That had to be a treat for Scott Berry as well.
Alex Gordon, the batter. There's a strike. You don't normally see that. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, he was out there where the Tigers kind of walk out to shake hands from their dugout. He was all the way out on the field having a conversation with Verlander, and obviously they were both smiling. He probably told him that he really appreciated the fact that he was able to call the game, and Verlander pitched very well.
Boy, the guys in the truck. Look at this. There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
He's all the way out there. Verlander was thrown in the upper 90s all game long.
1-2 pitch. Driven to center field. Granderson this time the opposite way. 2 outs.
And usually Verlander will throw some breaking balls and some changeups, but yesterday he was not having any of that. And for the first 3 days of that series, Boston hitters kind of had their way. You were talking about Jim Leland was walking around the clubhouse before the game, and he was happy, and he was jolly, and he was in a good mood. I would have been in a good mood, too, if I'd have had known that JV was going to take the hill from me.
And it was in even better mood after the game, after watching that one. Of course, don't discount what Ryan Rayburn did, too. He got the 2 Tigers runs in, and that's all that Verlander would need. Here's Yuniesky Betancourt. Yuniesky batting .241. Former property of the Seattle Mariners.
Well, they finally have themselves a shortstop, that's for sure. A guy that can really catch the ball and has an outstanding throwing arm. Tony Pena Jr. was there as shortstop a couple of years ago. Then Aviles, who had gotten hurt. Talked about Bloomquist playing that position, but now they have a legitimate shortstop.
Ripped to the shortstop, Everett, and a 1-2-3 inning again for Washburn. He's faced 9 hitters. They've all gone down.
hot dogs, brats, snacks, and soft drinks you can tackle. Call the Detroit Lions ticket office at 313-262-2009. Mario and Rod, back to you guys.
All right, Keach, thank you. As we get ready to go now to the bottom of the third here at the ballpark, the Tigers and Royals hooked up in a 0-0 tie so far, and Washburn has been perfect through three. Meanwhile, it's going to be Laird, Everett, and Granderson facing Zach Greinke. He hasn't been too shabby himself. He's given up just one walk. Laird batting .230, has had good numbers in his career against Greinke, 6 for 14. Zach starts him off fastball away, 1-0. Breaking ball is squibbed toward first base. Butler will hit the pitcher covering for the out, one gone.
Hey fans, see the Tigers play the Seattle Mariners this Tuesday through Thursday and take advantage of the August double play. Get 2 upper box tickets for only $29 or 2 lower box seats for $49. It's a savings of $15. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
There's a former Mariner who will be getting ready to take on his former team. Everett swings on the first pitch into shallow center. Bloomquist. 2 gone. He's going to bring up the top of the order, Curtis Granderson. Granderson struck out back in the first inning. One of 3 strikeouts that Greinke had in that first. He fanned the side. Curtis has hit 11 home runs career against Royals pitch. And that is ripped down the right field line. Fair ball. It's going to go to the corner. Extra bases for Granderson. He's headed to second, and he's going to stop there with a double. A 2-out, 2-base hit for Curtis Granderson. That is our first hit of the game.
Anytime you hit the ball down in the right field corner, Granderson gets a fastball up and hits a seed down in that direction. As soon as he gets to first base, he takes a look over to third to see what Gene Lamont wants him to do. When you're running, you can't afford to look behind you to decide whether you're going to come to third or not. You slow down as a runner. So you simply pick up your third base coach, and he will let you know what exactly to do.
Here's Polanco trying to score him with a 2-out hit. And it's lifted to right. Tien is there, though, and that is that for Detroit. So 3 innings in the books. Tigers get their first hit of the game. We go to the 4th scoreless. And on this date, what team scored 36 runs in a doubleheader, a record that stood for 70 years? 36 runs in a doubleheader. What team was it? I'll give you the answer in the bottom of the fourth inning. David DeJesus leads it off, and he will face Jared Washburn, who has faced 9 batters. He's retired all of them. DeJesus, a 3-game hit streak, is their leadoff man, and he leads the American League with 8 triples. So you want to keep him out of that right center field gap. .265 average for DeJesus. The 0-1. Looking up some numbers on DeJesus. In his career, he's been hit by a pitch 65 times.
That's a lot.
That's a ton.
Especially for a guy that's not a power hitter. You know, usually power hitters get hit a little bit more often because pitchers are always trying to crowd them inside, but DeJesus would not fall into that category.
That's pulled down the line and foul, and just foul. Ooh, that looked like it was going to be trouble.
Hung him a breaking ball that looked like something off speed, which kind of sped his bat up and allowed him to get out in front of it. A little breaking ball that he started inside off the plate, and DeJesus did not give up on it. Stayed there as long as he possibly could. That ball just fouled.
Yeah, barely missed it. It's the Tigers' version of the pesky foul pole down there at right field that you see in Boston. And a souvenir for that gentleman. Cool looking shirt. Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. DeJesus, then Bloomquist, and then Butler. High fly ball, center field. They've gone out there quite a bit. And as Washburn has said, you get him to hit that ball out in center field, be in pretty good shape. And he has done that a lot tonight.
Washburn says he likes to allow the hitter to put the ball in play as soon as possible when they go to the dish. He just likes to keep it off of the barrel of the bat. And so far today, he has done that. Not a strikeout pitcher, does not walk a lot of people. He pitches to a lot of contact.
Here's Willie Bloomquist. Right before the Tigers traded for Jared Washburn, he was the American League Pitcher of the Month in July. Had an ERA of 1.44 for the Seattle Mariners. The 0-1. Grounded foul, 0-2 on Bloomquist. Seattle, with their moves before the deadline, kind of retooling for next year and beyond, so they gave up a piece of their pitching staff to get a couple of minor league pitchers from the Tigers. Actually, Luke French had pitched in the big leagues. Oh, and 2. Ooh, good pitch. Strike 3 called. He is out of there. Bloomquist is the 3rd strikeout victim of the night for Jared Washburn.
Yeah, Bloomquist must have thought that Washburn was going to waste a pitch, no balls and 2 strikes, and he took that fastball that got quite a bit of plate.
Here's Billy Butler. Butler 0 for 1 with a pop-up. The hook misses inside, 1-0.
Looks like Billy Butler has finally found a home for Trey Hillman in that number 3 spot since they put him there. And he's been doing quite a bit of damage. As a matter of fact, last week, Butler was named American League Player of the Week. Drove in 10 runs.
Yikes. Yeah, he did some damage last week. He had over 500, didn't he? 538 with his 10 RBIs. The 2-0. Billy
has about 3 different toe taps that he does which is his timing mechanism with that front foot when standing in the batter's box. He'll tap once, he'll tap again, he'll bring the foot back, tap again before he decides to go forward. And hitters do a variety of things from a timing standpoint to get them in a position to swing the bat. That's what Billy does.
And he lost it. Ball 4. It is the first base runner of the night for Kansas City. 11 in a row had been retired before that walk. We'll bring in Miguel Olivo. Tigers have 1 hit and a walk. Olivo lined out his first time up. He was their player of the month in June. And he takes the ball, 1-0. Down the right field line, slicing foul. And back into the seats, 1 ball, 1 strike on Miguel Olivo. We're talking about the fact that Olivo has been better at throwing out base runners than John Buck this year. I guess another thing to consider is that he has caught each of the 5 shutouts that the Royals have thrown this year. So that, I think, counts for something as well.
He's done a nice job.
Here's the other half of the tandem. Buck missing low. And Olivo is ahead in the count. Washburn busting him inside, but falls behind. 3 balls, 1 strike. Tipped out of the glove of the catcher Laird. 3-2, which means start the base runner. Billy Butler will be on the move. And a swing and a miss. 4 strikeouts. Washburn gives up a walk, but no damage. Like to know on this date what team scored 36 runs in a doubleheader, a record that stood for 70 years. And the answer is your Detroit Tigers in 1937 against the St. Louis Browns. They scored 16 in Game 1, 20 in Game 2. Texas broke that record in 07. Wow. Remember that doubleheader they played in Baltimore? They scored 39 runs in that doubleheader in August of 07. Here's Clee Thomas leading it off as we go to the bottom of the fourth. No score in this one. And a breaking ball drops a little bit outside from Greinke. Thomas, Cabrera, and Guillen for Detroit. Tigers have the game's only hit so far. It was a double by Granderson in the second, but they left him there. Thomas with a big rip, 1-1.
Thomas has not been able to catch up with that Greinke fastball today. That's where you got to shorten up a little bit and shorten your swing and not take such a big swing and just allow Greinke to supply some of this power. Wow. Goes from 92 to 69 from the same arm slot.
Thomas fanned back in the first. And he takes strike three in the outside corner as Greinke painted that time. That is his fourth strikeout. One out for Miguel Cabrera. By the way, we want to thank Larry Osterling, who is the executive director of the Saline Area Chamber of Commerce. Rod, he sent a couple of shirts up for us today.
He sure did.
Saline, by the way, voted one of the top 100 places to live in the country. So congratulations to that area of Metro Detroit.
Send us some chocolates, too.
Yeah, did you eat those?
No, not yet.
We'll dig into those later. Thanks, Larry. Congratulations to Saline. One strike on Miguel Cabrera. He grounded out back in the second, 0 for 1. Hammers that one foul back out of play, 0-2. Cabrera, of course, missed a game in Boston. They wrapped up that left wrist after he was hit a couple of times. Of course, that was one of the precursors to the bench clearing incident when Porcello hit Kevin Youkilis. 1-2. It was a very strange 4 days in Boston, to be sure.
Yes, it was. And it always is when the Tigers go there. That's a tough place to play and win.
Well, he had the brawl. The Tigers gave up some early leads. Of course, they had to go to Chris Lambert after Porcello was thrown out. He had to eat up a lot of innings, and then Galarraga was sick. Minor had to start. Fouled away. Cabrera getting hit on an area where you really just start to get worried. Guys break their wrists getting hit there. Another foul back out of play.
Only had to miss 1.5 games.
And so Mr. Porcello taking this one in from one of the suites tonight.
Got a nice seat tonight.
He does. I'm sure he'd rather be in the dugout, though. The 2-2. Ooh, just got a piece of it.
And this is why Porcello got suspended for 5 games. Youkilis, by the way, also was suspended for 5 games.
Nice helmet throw, by the way. There's a pop-up right side of the infield. Billy Butler is under it. 2 gone. So Cabrera is 0 for 2, and that's going to bring up Carlos Guillen. This one has certainly been pitching dominated, and we kind of expected it to be a good matchup tonight, and it has turned out to be just that. Both pitchers in command. Guillen had a base on balls back in the second. Did not advance any farther, though, at first base.
Greinke has thrown 47 pitches, 32 of which have hit the strike zone. So I guess his command is back.
Yeah, it sure is. You talked about that being an issue on the pitching report tonight.
Yes, he admitted that. It's one of the reasons why he went about 6 weeks without winning a game.
Wave and a miss, 1-1.
He won his last start in Oakland 5 days ago, but prior to that, I believe the date was June 28th, the last time he won a game. How do you go the whole month of July without winning a game with this stuff?
I have no idea. I mean, I can see, obviously, if you're not getting any runs.
Which is an issue for him.
And really in that stretch, he only had one really bad outing. He gave up 6 runs in 5 innings at Tampa. But other than that, he was pitching well enough to win. There's a strike on Guillen, 2-2. Off speed.
When you have 4 above average pitches, fastball, slider, curve, and a change, and you can throw all of them for a strike when you want, it's usually a very difficult night for the hitters. And that's why Greinke leads the American League in earned run average as we speak.
3-2. And he's been up there just about the entire year. Marcus Thames waiting on deck. Ball 4. Second walk in the game for Carlos Guillen. And a 2-out base runner for Detroit. That'll bring up Thames. Kind of like yesterday, this is shaping up to be one of those games where we want to see which team will get that one big hit. And Rayburn provided that actually a couple of times for Detroit yesterday, getting their 2 runs. Not much else in that Verlander-Buchholz matchup. Ball 1 to Marcus.
Looks like Guillen on that first delivery from Greinke was entertaining the thought of trying to steal second. He thought he had Greinke timed, and had he gone, he probably would have been safe. But his jump was so good, he scared himself and he stopped.
There he goes, and it's lined to left field. That ball is down, a base hit. Guillen will get the third, and Marcus pulls in with a single, and the Tigers now have runners at first and third with 2 outs.
Marcus is a dangerous hitter to the pull field. That's a slider that's up. Location's not bad. It's on the outside part of the plate, but it's up, and that allowed Marcus to line that ball sharply in the left. And, of course, Guillen was on the move, which allowed him to get to third. DeJesus in left did a nice job of not allowing that ball to get all the way to the wall, because had it gotten to the wall, Guillen scored.
So here is Brandon Inge, another primo scoring opportunity here for the Tigers with 2 outs. Inge flied out back in the second. Right down the middle at 95, 0-1. Brandon has 14 career home runs against Royals pitching. And Greinke missed outside, 1-1.
And Greinke's one of those pitchers that has that extra gear. He'll work right around 91, 92, but when he needs to reach back, he can reach all the way up and get 97 and 98.
Inge has taken Greinke deep twice. The 1-1 pitch. Tried to hold up, couldn't do it. And a strike is called by Ed Rapuano. 1-2 on Brandon. Tigers not catching too many breaks the last 3 days. Beckett, Buchholz, and now Greinke here tonight. Tigers in that series against Boston batted just $1.94 in the 4-game set.
Felix Hernandez will be here next week, too. He'll get one of those starts against the Tigers for Seattle. So you're absolutely right. They are seeing some of the best right-handers in the game of baseball.
The 1-2 is lifted in the air, foul. Headed to the seats, and it'll get there.
King Felix and Mark Burley of the White Sox locked up a couple of days ago in Seattle, and Felix pitched 7 scoreless. Burley 8 scoreless. I think that game went like 14 innings, excuse me. Seattle came back to win that game, so we'll see Hernandez next week.
And he is second in the American League in ERA, Felix Hernandez. Behind Greinke. We're talking about Greinke's winless streak, which just goes to show how well he was pitching in that streak. You can go all those starts without a win and still lead the league in ERA. 2-2. Ray Hellman in his second year with the Royals. Managed 5 years in Japan before being hired by Kansas City. Swing and a miss. Greinke gets a strikeout. That is his 5th, and it comes in a big spot in this one. Tigers strand 2. Mario and Pemba, Rhode Island, glad you are with us here tonight. And I'm not sure who's been better tonight. Washburn's been great, and Greinke's been really good, too.
Well, they're getting it done in different ways. Obviously, Washburn's a guy that's kind of touch and feel, works on the corners, not a power guy. Greinke, however, is a power guy with an outstanding slider.
What are some of the keys maybe for the Tigers to get to Greinke a little bit? I mean, over his career, they haven't been able to do a whole lot against him.
Well, they're going to have to get an extra base hit or two, or at least get a guy on first where Jim can manufacture a run by bunt, maybe a hit and run, get some guys moving, and somebody's going to have to come up with a clutch base knock against Greinke.
So meanwhile, Washburn going back to work. He has been really, really good as well. And Jared Washburn had retired 11 straight prior to giving up a walk in the 4th. There's a ground ball to short on the backhand Everett. Callaspo is out. 1 away in the 5th inning. "13 of 14 retired by the Tigers left-hander." There's Mark Teahan. Teahan batting .277, a strikeout victim in the 2nd, and Washburn has struck out 4 in tonight's game. Ball 1. And already the 4 strikeouts by Washburn, the most in his 3 starts with Detroit. On the outer edge at 88, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah. Washburn looks awfully comfortable today. He stands on that third base side of the rubber, which allows him to get that fastball away from the left-handed hitters.
He's had him twisted like a pretzel all night long. Washburn. 11 straight before the walk to Butler. And he's 1-2 on Tien. He wastes one away, staying alive. Jared says he's looking forward to taking on the Seattle Mariners when they come to town. Of course, the last time he faced a former team was when he first joined Seattle, and his first start was against his former team, the Angels. But that was the course of an offseason passing by. This is just a couple of weeks. And he'll get a shot at his former teammates. It'll be a little bit weird for him.
Well, I'm sure he knows all those hitters. And the flip side of that is they know him very well, too.
The 2-2. Fill it now, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Washburn has given a lot of credit to Rick Adair, the pitching coach in Seattle, for the control that he has had this year, the success that he has had, finding that good arm slot with that good sinker ball that he's throwing these days.
Roll to first base, fair ball. Cabrera has it. 2 gone. Well, it's that time again. Batting stance guy is back, and it's time for Guess the Stance. Check this out and see if you can name the big leaguer he is imitating. Stay tuned to Tigers Live postgame for the answer. What do you think? That's kind of easy.
I got no shot.
Really?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Oh, I was going to say. I think that's a pretty easy one.
That's a layup today.
Here's Brian Pena.
I think batting stance's imitation of Verlander is tremendous.
Oh, that is funny.
Tremendous.
Batting stance guy does Verlander when he threw the no-hitter.
Yeah.
Got the little leg kick after the strikeouts and everything.
Tremendous. Might be the best one that he does.
Which would, I guess, make him pitching stance guy as well as batting stance guy. But it's good. Verlander primed with that. He had that seat, but he's given it up now. He's kind of moved down.
I think whoever's starting the next day kind of gets that premium spot right there. Jackson's not sitting, but he's standing over there.
There's the first hit of the ball game for the Kansas City Royals. A 2-out single here in the 5th inning for Brian Pena. And so Washburn will get a nice round of applause. That'll bring up Alex Gordon. Only 3 hits in this game between the two teams. Gordon fly to center, back in the 3rd. Well, I guess that seat on the bucket would provide the guy pitching the next day with probably the best view, wouldn't it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're watching the opposing hitters and their tendencies. Jackson usually sitting down there on the water cooler, but deciding to stand today.
Washburn has surrendered just a single and a walk in this game. Swinging a high drive into center field. Granderson appears to have room. Keeps drifting, and the side retired. Nothing doing for the Royals. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. And by BP. Help your car run younger for longer. Try BP gasoline with Invigorate. So it's the bottom of the fifth here at the ballpark now in a scoreless game. No runs, 2 hits for the Tigers. No runs on 1 hit for the Royals. And Zach Greinke battling Jared Washburn. And the Tigers will send Gerald Laird to the plate in the bottom of the fifth. And he swings on the first pitch and pops it up.
G-Money has been doing a lot of that the last couple of weeks.
Levo hauls it in for the out. 1 pitch, 1 away for Greinke.
Yeah, Greinke's got the Tigers swinging early and also swinging often because he is pounding the strike zone with regularity with first pitch fastballs. Yeah, but the key for Greinke is they're well located first pitch fastballs. There's a difference.
Here's Adam Everett. Strike 1 is called on Everett, who fly to center field back in the third.
It's a nice idea. And bunt down toward third. I'm sure Alex Gordon, although playing, not moving as mobily as he has in the past because of the hip surgery that he had at the beginning of the year.
Greinke tonight has struck out 5. He has walked 2. And the 0-2 pitch. Fly ball. Shallow left. DeJesus. Well, these two guys are absolutely rolling tonight, Washburn and Greinke. And with 2 outs, that'll bring up Granderson, who had the 2-out double in the third but did not score. Washburn started this one by retiring 11 straight. One ball, no strikes on Granderson. Now 1-1. Greinke early on in the year had a streak of 111 innings. A long streak in which he had not given up a home run. Of course, that dated back to September of last year and then continued on to this season. 111 consecutive innings of keeping the baseball in the ballpark. There's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Granderson.
He has not thrown Granderson a fastball. Change-ups and breaking balls. Of course, Granderson hit a double his last time up on a fastball. Going to give him one now.
Phil at 3-2. Polanco waiting on deck. 3-2 pitch. He walked him. Curtis out for the second time tonight. That's another walk for Greinke, and that would be his third of the game. He's going to bring up Polanco now. We're talking about Trey Hillman managing over in Japan for 5 years before coming over here to Kansas City a couple of years ago. Hillman actually won the Japan World Series back in 2007. His team did, and the other team was managed by Bobby Valentine.
Bobby Valentine?
Yeah. He seems to get the most press of all the Americans that have managed over there, Bobby Valentine.
He got a lot of press when he was here, too.
That is true. Yeah, he was in the papers and on TV quite a bit. Polanco is 0 for 2, strikeout and a flyout.
I read an article recently on Bobby Valentine, and I believe the club that he manages over there is not going to renew his contract after this. And he'll be looking for work stateside again.
Really?
Yes.
You wouldn't happen to know how many years he's been there, would you? It's been a long time, hasn't it?
It's been quite a while. Very popular over there.
1 ball, 1 strike. I would imagine he would be able to surface somewhere here in the States with a team.
Well, if there's some jobs available, I'm sure he's a guy that may get an opportunity to interview for one.
Granderson with 20 steals. Trying to measure his lead against Greinke. He dives back in.
Not only does Greinke have tremendous stuff, but he also does the little things. He can field his position. He can hold the base runners. He doesn't take a long time getting the ball to home plate, which would allow the catcher a lot of time to throw. He's had 23 starts this year, and there's only been 6 stolen bases while he's been on the mound in 7 attempts. So only 7 guys have attempted to run while he's been on the mound. And he's given up 150 hits. He's walked a few, so you're talking about quite a few base runners.
Yeah, lots. Granderson has been caught 6 times with his 20 steals. And that's low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Placido Polanco.
Granderson has had a couple of seasons where he has stolen at least 20 bases and hit at least 20 home runs. He is the 3rd such Tiger to do so. Kirk Gibson did it 4 times. Alan Trammell did it twice. That's it. Rare company.
Speaking of Tram, I heard a radio interview today, and Cal Ripken was on this interview, and he said he feels that Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker should go into the Hall of Fame as a duo.
They were tremendous.
Based on what they combined as 2 kids that came up together, and he said, you're never going to see that again. 2 guys playing 20 years in the big leagues.
Same team.
Yeah, same team, and double play partners. So 3-2 now, and that is the 4th full count that Greinke has gone to in this game. The previous 3 have resulted in walks. Clete Thomas on deck. Runner going on 3-2, and he walked him. Ball 4.
Well, first 10 games of the year, Greinke was clear-cut favorite to win the Cy Young. And he has now allowed some other guys in the conversation with his last 13 games. 3-6 record, earned run average over 3. Opponent's batting average at .287 as well. I was telling you earlier, these 2 were teammates in the summer and back in Florida. Clete and Zach. Scott Kazmir was also on that team. Chad Billingsley of the Dodgers was also on that team. How did they ever lose a game?
This is all one summer team?
One team.
Wow.
Billy Butler also played in that same organization, but he is younger than Greinke and also Clete. But apparently that summer league team they played on down in Florida was some kind of talented.
Thomas trying to come up with a 2-out hit here. This is one of those situations you talked about. It's going to take a big hit in a big spot. And Greinke now has issued 4 walks, a season high, giving the Tigers an opportunity to go ahead here in the 5th.
We talked about his command in the pitching profile. He thought it was back, but apparently it's not. Clete has to sit on the fastball, though. He's going to get a fastball or 2, but he just can't take that big swing. He's got to be ready for it. There it was. Low, though. Greinke has so many plus pitches. I mean, the breaking ball and the slider and the changeup. You can't look for those pitches because he has 95 in his back pocket. You have to sit on the fastball and hope he makes a mistake with one of those other pitches.
We'll see what Greinke wants to offer up here with the count 2-1 in Thomas's favor. Fastball again, and he goes to 3-1. Now he's flirting with danger, especially with Cabrera waiting on deck. Washburn hoping for some help offensively. He's been terrific tonight, giving up just one hit. Swing and a miss.
That's what makes him so good. That's what separates him from most. Most guys up here that have already walked 4, sitting in a 3-1 count, they're not going to throw a changeup and then located it in that area. And that's what kind of separates Zach Greinke.
Especially with Cabrera on deck. Now he's run it to 3-2.
Stay ready for that heater. Looks like Cleat choking up on that bat just a little bit. Hopefully shortens his swing as well if he does get the fastball. When you choke up like that, it gives you a little bit more bat control.
How many guys wear just one batting glove?
Not many.
Haven't seen that often.
Not many. There's a handful of guys that don't wear them at all, but very few wear just one.
Runner's going, and it's swung on and missed. He struck him out. Greinke fans his 6th of the ballgame. Tigers strand 2 more. We go to the 6th. Sunday for on-field photo day starting at 11 a.m. Take pictures of your favorite Tigers players on the field prior to the game. It's a 1:05 start against the Royals. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or log on to tigers.com.
That's always a great day.
Well, I know the fans absolutely love it. Get on the field and be able to take some pictures of your heroes.
It's about as close as the fans are able to get to the players other than spring training.
And that's always fun, too. Here is Betancourt leading it off. Unieski, Betancourt, followed by David DeJesus and Willie Bloomquist. Washburn has given up just one hit. Neither team has been able to score yet as we head to the 6th inning. Betancourt lined to the shortstop his last time up. And there's a strike, 2-1. Jared in the ballgame has struck out 4. He has walked 1 and given up just a single to Pena. That's popped up. First base side, and Gerald Laird gets there.
We were talking about it a couple of innings ago. You don't have to be a guy like Verlander, although it's nice to have that kind of powerful arm, or a guy like Greinke or Jackson or some of the other power pitchers in baseball. it's nice to watch a guy go out and twirl the gym as Washburn is doing, with not having a fastball that touches 90 miles an hour, but exceptional control and good movement on everything that he throws.
Now David DeJesus, he's 0 for 2 with a couple of fly balls. DeJesus at 264. Got a little bit of power out of that leadoff slot with 8 home runs. And the 0-1. Backed him out of there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He can go back inside with a good two-seam fastball if he wants to, or he can simply go away from DeJesus with this next pitch. And that's one thing he and Laird have not gotten themselves into. They have not gotten into a pattern out there. They've been mixing it up pretty good.
Bouncing ball right side. Polanco has an easy play. 2 gone.
Did you know that Leland every day hits ground balls to Polanco, and he is the only one that Leland hits ground balls to? He does not hit another ground ball to any other player other than Polanco, and has done as much since he's been here.
Well, apparently it's worked, because since he's been here, he's been one of the best defenders at second base in the league. Maybe all of baseball.
I guess they got a little something going on.
And it's worked. Here's Bloomquist. Right back up the middle. That one's going to get through. It's a 2-out single. And the Royals have their second hit of the game. Each team now with 2 hits. That brings up Billy Butler. Butler is 0 for 1 with a walk. I guess it just goes to show, Rob, that even at this level, you have to continue to work at your skills, continue to take the ground balls or the fly balls. I mean, it's just like batting practice.
Absolutely.
These guys go out and take a ton of ground balls on a daily basis to stay sharp.
Bloomquist has 18 steals this year. He's only been caught 3 times. There he goes.
There's throw is in time. You can't run on G-Money.
That boy bad. Well, his release, the exchange, and the arm strength is unbelievable. Tigers have had a couple of opportunities in this game today, but you can see Greinke gets awfully nasty with this slide piece when they do have runners in scoring position. He struck Inge out with it, and he also got Cleek for the 3rd time with that same pitch. Keep in mind, you at home, that looks like a fastball to the hitters, and then once they start their swing and they can't hold it up, the ball just kind of disappears on them, which makes that such an effective pitch for Greinke and so many other pitchers that have that real good slider. Coors Light Freeze Cam, of course, always brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
So here come the Tigers now in the bottom of the 6th inning against Greinke. Cabrera, Guillen, and Thames in a 0-0 game. In fact, 0-2-0 on the scoreboard for both sides. Cabrera with a ground out and a pop-up.
Greinke's kind of a quiet assassin. He looks young and innocent out there, but he will buzz your tower too. He's not afraid to come inside with that mid-90s fastball.
Hit the other way, but straight at the first baseman, Butler. And Cabrera is 0 for 3, 1 gone. He's going to bring up Carlos Guillen. Carlos has been able to work Greinke a little bit. He's had a couple of walks. He saw 9 pitches in his first at-bat and 6 in his last at-bat. It's made him work a little bit here, and as a result has been on base twice. Tigers have had by far the better scoring chances. Problem is both of them have come with 2 outs. 0-1 on Guillen. Fly ball, left center field. DeJesus under it. 2 gone.
I kind of thought he abandoned that real slow breaking ball. I know he's been throwing a few of them lately, but today, a lot of them. You can see he's gone to 96 with the heater, and he's gone as low as 69 with that real slow lollipop curveball that he has the ability to throw a strike with when he wants to. That last one was 72 miles an hour that Carlos popped up into the outfield.
Quite a differential in speed.
96 to 69.
Wow. Well, here's Thames with a single back in the 4th. He is 1 for 2.
Marcus got a good pitch to hit right there, and he knows it. Every now and then when a pitcher like Greinke makes a mistake, you've got to somehow capitalize. A hanging breaking ball that he had a really good swing at it and fouled it straight back.
One and 2.
Because then he'll come back with that real nasty breaking ball right there. Here's the one he missed. Ugh.
Roll toward third, backing up Gordon. It's going to be an easy 1-2-3 inning for Zach Greinke. So we mosey on to the 7th. Butler, Olivo, and Callaspo coming up. Tonight, time for our Cabot Woodstain's legendary performance. What do we have tonight? Looks like Jack Morris is part of it. On this date in baseball history, back in 1989, Jack Morris was the last Tigers starter to pitch 10 innings in a game. He would lose that game as Craig Worthington hit a 3-run homer in the 10th to beat the Tigers.
He was some kind of competitor. Jack Morris.
You know who was the right fielder for the Tigers in that game? Kenny Williams.
General manager of the White Sox?
Yeah.
He had a brief stint with the Tigers.
Sorry, Kenny, you were 0 for 4 that day, though. Here's Billy Butler leading it off. It's hit on the ground and a diving stop at first. Cabrera racing to the bag. Nice job. One gone. That thing was headed to right field.
Cabrera looks like he's in great shape. And he appears to be in that weight room and doing a lot of work because his body looks awfully good these days. And he's moving awfully well at that first base position. Not only does he field that ball, but he gets over to beat Billy Butler to the bag.
We'll bring on Miguel Olivo. Olivo is 0 for 2, strikeout and a fly ball. It seems like Washburn, when he faces the Royals, has been used to not a whole lot of run support. He had given up just 5 earned runs in his last 4 starts against KC. That's it. But in those games, he was 0-2. Not a whole lot of support. Oh, they had Olivo played perfectly as Inge was on the line. Hit it right at him. A bullet.
Brandon did not have to move. And Lincoln Mercury Exmo replay. It's a great shot of Brandon in his ready position before the ball got in the hitting zone. That's why he's able to make so many plays, so many dazzling plays down at third base. He's got really nice feet down there.
Alberto Callaspo with 2 outs. This Washburn we are seeing tonight is the Washburn the Tigers were hopeful of getting at the trading deadline, and after 2 starts in which Jared struggled a bit, he has really turned it on. Gave up 5 runs in 6 innings in his last start, even though it was a Tigers victory. He has handcuffed the Royals tonight on just 2 hits.
The Royals came in to play tonight 15-28 against left-handed pitching. And they have 3 left-handers in their lineup today, and Washburn has been tremendous this year against left-handed batters.
That's lifted in the air, shallow left. Everett going back, and he'll get there. Another 1-2-3 inning for Jared Washburn. Boy, 7 outstanding innings tonight.
T-shirts, you can get jerseys, caps, sweatshirts. You can get whatever you want there. Leland bobblehead. And get your Tigers gear straight from the source at Tigers.com shop.
So we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Tigers are knotted up in a 0-0 game here against the Kansas City Royals. Brandon Inge leads it off, rolls one foul down the third base line. Each side with 2 hits. Inge 0 for 2, strikeout and a pop-up. And he takes one inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Inge, Laird, and then Adam Everett here in the 7th. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball stays high, running to 2-1 on Brandon. Zach Greinke had a 1-2-3-6. He has walked 4 in this game. The Tigers have had the better scoring chances. That's fouled straight back. Out. Whoa! Back into the booth. Dude, you got to go for that one.
Please. No.
You got to go for that one.
No.
Oh, now they want the baseball.
They love me. They love me.
Strike called, and Inge is out of there. That'll bring up Gerald Laird.
That's the first one in 7 years.
What do you like to say? It came to eat.
It should come to eat. I saw it coming, too. Thanks for letting me sit on your lap.
That's the quickest I've seen you move.
Thanks for letting me sit on your lap.
It's 7 years. Zip! Like, whoa, what are you doing here? Here's Laird. Gerald tonight is 0 for 2. Pop up and a ground ball. Breaking ball that misses. 2 balls, no strikes. Gerald popped up on 1 pitch back in the 5th. He's taken a couple here and gotten ahead of the count. Swinging a drive into deep center field. Bloomquist going back, and he'll have room right in front of the warning track. 2 gone. Going to bring up Adam Everett. Everett is 0 for 2 with a couple of fly balls. 1 to center and 1 to left. Ball 1. 4 hits in this game. 2 for the Tigers and 2 for the Royals. Greinke wheels with the 1-0, and it's a strike 1-1 on Everett. Neither one of these starters cracking tonight, that's for sure, although Greinke has been on the ropes a couple of times. Good breaking ball, drops in for strike 2. Adam 1 for 10 in that series against the Boston Red Sox. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Greinke signed a 4-year deal through the year 2012 this past January.
What a great sign that was by Dayton Moore.
And a bouncing ball to short. Here comes Betancourt. It's off his glove. Into left field. He tried to surround it. And Everett is aboard. Keep it going for Curtis Granderson.
Betancourt has a really good glove and an outstanding throwing arm. He had the glove down. That ball just took a little bit of a tricky hop on him. He should have made the play, but the ball did jump up on him. He was trying to create an angle with his body, which would have allowed him to make an easier throw over to first.
It's an error. E6. Here's Granderson now. He had a 2-base hit back in the 3rd. There is some activity in the bullpen for the Royals. Former Tiger Roman Colon is warming up. Greinke has thrown 92 pitches. Nope, check that. 106. I beg your pardon. 106 pitches. So he's crossed the 100 plateau. And it's drilled to right field. Base hit. Everett will go to second base, and he will stop there.
Sometimes it takes an air to open up the floodgates. And now the Tigers have probably their best hitter with runners in scoring position, average-wise, with Polanco coming to the ditch.
Placido was up there back in the 5th and walked. See how Greinke wants to approach him here. He has Clete Thomas in the on-deck circle, and he has handled him. In fact, he struck him out 3 times. Third Tigers hit of the game. Granderson has been on base 3 times tonight. Single, double, walk. Polanco sends one in the air to right field. Martin is there, and just like that, the rally is over. No runs. They get a hit, an error, and strand 2.
Coverage begins at 6:30 with Tigers Live. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire tomorrow evening on Fox Sports Detroit and Fox Sports HD.
Luke Hochaber and Edwin Jackson in the second game tomorrow. Got a lot to decide in this one yet. 0-0 game as we go to the 8th. Who will crack first? Washburn is facing Tian, Pena, and Gordon. Only 2 hits surrendered tonight by Jared. And he deals up high. 2 balls, no strikes.
I know Tigers hitters are hoping that Greinke is done.
Yeah, Washburn's pitch count has been in better shape than Greinke's. Greinke's walked more. The 2-0. Right back up the middle, and that's going to get into center field. One of their hardest hit balls tonight.
Tian had not had a whole lot of success against Washburn in his career. His batting average was just 158 against Jared, but that was a seed.
And that's the first time the leadoff man has gotten on base tonight for Kansas City. Here comes Kevin Rand to take a look at Washburn to see if that ball hit him. I don't know if it caught him on the foot. Looked like it hit something. Yeah, it looked like it caught him on the heel.
Clipped him a little bit.
It's all right, though.
If that would have hit him square, he wouldn't be walking around like that.
Sea Lion warming up. Here's Brian Pena. He is showing bunt, and he missed it.
Looks like it's kind of foreign to the young man.
Pena has a single and a fly ball. Let's see if the sacrifice is still on here.
He has one this year. This is where Inge can really charge aggressively from his position. A guy that looks like he's not comfortable bunting to see if he can grab that ball and go back to second and get the force out. And first, if you're Washburn, you've got to keep 10 close. And here's where Inge can cheat from his respective position. He's got no responsibility. You see where he is right now, but he will start creeping as soon as Washburn gets set to deliver the ball.
Down the first base line. It's going to stay fair.
Perfect.
Nicely done. So they get a man into scoring position. It's the first time today, I believe. That'll bring up Alex Gordon. One out with a runner at second base. Gordon is 0 for 2 with a couple of flies to center. Ball one. Washburn slipped on the hill. Like Greinke slipped a little bit earlier, and that time Jared didn't land solidly. Zach Greinke scattering 3 Tigers hits, did not allow a run. Here's the 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Alex Gordon hit .260 last year with 16 home runs. Coming off that hip surgery this year, missed 79 games this season. And he tried to hold up, couldn't do it. 2-1. He was an outstanding college player. In fact, he won the Golden Spikes Award at Nebraska.
Really only played 1 year of AA ball before coming to the big leagues.
Now 3-1. It's a first-round pick, the first-round pick out of Nebraska since 1995, when the Angels selected Darren Erstad first overall that year. Betancourt waiting on deck. 3-1 on Alex Gordon. A boatload of expectation put on this young man when he came up after a brief stop in the minor leagues.
Anytime you get compared to George Brett, those are tough shoes to fill.
Three-two pitch in the air toward left, but this will go foul. 3-2 the count remains on Alex Gordon. He didn't return to their lineup until July the 17th. He is trying to pick up Mark Teahan here with the game's first run. And he stays alive at 3-2. Leadoff single by Teahan. The sacrifice by Pena moved him up. Fouled away.
Washburn reached back to get his best fastball of the night. 90 miles an hour. I could hear him grunting up here.
Trying to put away Gordon, but was unable to do it. Count stays 3-2 and 100 pitches. His season high this year is 110. He's done that twice. Gordon steps out. Meanwhile, it looks like Minnesota has taken an early lead on Cleveland, 2-0. Twins getting a couple of runs in the bottom of the third. Slowly hit towards second. Polanco will get it and throw him out. Advance the runner to third with 2 outs. And now Washburn will face the number 9 hitter, Unieski Betancourt.
Jim talking to Lamont right now, and he's probably asking him, what do you think I should do with Betancourt? You got a base open, you got 2 outs. You got a left-hander in the on-deck circle in DeJesus, and DeJesus has hit Washburn well. This is where the managers really make their money, into how they decide what to do.
Yeah, one of the dozens of decisions that I think managers make throughout the course of the night that you really don't realize.
And you really can't look at the fact that Betancourt only hits 239. You really cannot look at that. Betancourt knows Washburn. He's been playing behind him for the last 2 years before he was traded from Seattle to Kansas City. So he knows everything that Washburn features. Literally. And it looks like they're not going to give him a whole lot to hit. At least the first 2 pitches. But the guy in the on-deck circle is hitting 340 against him.
Yeah, that's, there's sometimes when statistics, I think, trump the righty-lefty thing. The 2-0. And so Betancourt apparently is going to be given first base here, or at least Washburn will give him nothing.
I think I saw Gene Lamont motion out to Gerald Laird. He didn't put up the 4 fingers, but he kind of had him down and kind of wiggling them like, telling him do not give him anything good to hit, when he and Jim were having that conversation.
So the question becomes, why not just walk him intentionally? But I guess you kind of take the chance that maybe Betancourt will get himself out by going after something out of the strike zone.
A lot of times managers and pitching coaches do not like for the pitchers on the mound to lob the baseball toward home plate. They don't like for them to lose that feeling of throwing the ball aggressively. They don't like to do that. Usually when they want to walk somebody, they let that pitcher that's in the game walk them, and then they make the change from the bullpen.
So first and third, here is DeJesus, who is 9 for 26 against Washburn.
And clearly they were pitching around Betancourt.
Rick Knapp taking his notes. So now DeJesus, lefty-lefty situation here in a scoreless game in the 8th, first and third. DeJesus is 0 for 3 tonight against Washburn. And a bouncing ball hit the second base. Looked like it worked. That is that for the Royals. He's 0 for 4. They strand a couple. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. 49. Here's our Comerica Bank game summary. What a job tonight from Jared Washburn. His best start, no question about it, as a Tiger, and he's getting the congratulations from his teammates. Washburn, 8 innings, 3 hits. Greinke was outstanding as well. He is out of the game. Curtis Granderson, 2 for 3 with a double and a walk. And Greinke will give way to Roman Colon, is our Wallside Windows pitching change.
He has not pitched all that well for Kansas City lately. As a matter of fact, the last 4 times he has gone out there, he has given up at least 1 run. And, of course, Colon, the former Tiger, a couple of years ago.
He'll face Thomas Cabrera and Guillen of the Tigers' 8th.
It'd be nice for them to score a run and somehow get Washburn a win out of this.
Well, Cleats glad that Greinke is done for the night. Greinke struck him out 3 times this evening on Zach's way to 7 strikeouts for the game. The 1-1. Bouncing ball to the right side. Easy play for Callaspo. 1 up, 1 away in the Tigers' 8th. Roman Colon is 30 years of age. Out of Monte Cristi in the Dominican Republic. That was his birthday yesterday. Here's Cabrera.
It was Washburn's birthday yesterday, too, I believe.
Was it?
Yes, I do believe so.
Wave and a miss. Well, Washburn, outstanding here tonight. Giving up just the 3 hits. The 0-1. Cabrera pops it up. On the run is Callaspo, and it'll drop harmlessly in foul territory. Butler couldn't quite lumber over there in time.
And Butler's still kind of learning that first base position, and that is one of the tougher plays for any first baseman. And as soon as it went up, I knew that Callaspo would have the only chance of catching it. He got glove on it. You give this guy second life, and he can hurt you.
Here's Colon's 0-2. Down he goes. So Cabrera's out of there. 2 gone. First strikeout for Colon. Now Carlos Guillen. 6 hits between the 2 teams tonight. Carlos, couple of walks and a fly ball. 0 for 1. Line foul to left field. Another good crowd here tonight. 34,799 is our attendance here this evening as we check out the other scores in the 4th inning. Twins lead the Indians 3-0. Twins have added 1 more. And they came in tonight trailing the Tigers in 3rd place. There's a strike call. Minnesota 5 out coming into play tonight. Chicago later tonight will be in Oakland. Here's the 0-2. Well, as we head toward mid-August, I guess everybody has their different opinion on when the pennant race actually starts. For Jim Leland, typically he talks about the month of September when you really start to zero in on it. Right now the Tigers have built a little bit of a cushion, and they're home here for a couple of series, one against KC, the other against Seattle before they go on to the West Coast again. So that makes these home games a little bit more important, where they've been dominant. 18 over the 500 mark at home. The 2-2 pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Got a trip out to Oakland, trip out to LA. And then all of a sudden, when the Tigers get back from the next trip, September right around the corner, that's when it really will get fun. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Popped him up. Shallow left field on the charge to Jesus. In foul ground, and he goes to his knees to make the play. Tigers go 1-2-3. We head to the ninth. Bloomquist, Butler, and Olivo on the way. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Back here at Comerica Park as we go to the ninth inning. Not a whole lot of offense to talk about tonight. No runs, 3 hits for both sides. And Brandon Lyon is the new Tigers pitcher.
Well, Brandon Lyon has 11 scoreless innings the last few times he's gone out there, and that's exactly what they need tonight out of Brandon, who has been absolutely dealing for the better part of 2 months now.
Well, if you go over his last 30 outings, a 1.41 ERA in his last 25 outings. There you have it. The 1-0. Willie Bloomquist leads it off, then Billy Butler and Miguel Olivo.
Do not want to walk Bloomquist.
Washburn goes 8. Scatters 3 hits, gives way to Brandon Lyon.
Leland has done an outstanding job during the course of this 17 consecutive games that the Tigers are playing right now with their bullpen. It is tough when you're in a stretch where you've played 15 in a row where your bullpen doesn't get out of whack. Really all it takes is one start, but when it has gotten out of whack just a little bit, and Jim has been able to bring it right back to get guys the proper rest they need.
Bobby C still tuning up. Well, the ejection of Rick Porcello tested the Tigers bullpen in that game in Boston. In fact, for the rest of that series as well.
They also had a little bit of a scare there in that Cleveland series where Jackson only went 4 and Galarraga had to stay out there for a while to get the bullpen back in shape.
Bloomquist spoiling a pretty good pitch there. 2-2 the count stays on Willie. 7 years in Seattle, signed as a free agent this January by Kansas City. Fouled away again, so he's battling Lyon here in the ninth. Got him. He went fishing. And a strikeout for Brandon. One gone. That's his first strikeout. And it'll bring up Billy Butler. Butler slowly making his way to the batter's box. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Down the middle it comes. 95 from line.
Where'd that come from?
0 for 4 career against Brandon Lyon. Hit the other way into right field. Straight at Clee Thomas. 2 gone. And that will leave it up to Miguel Olivo. Tigers are going to have Thames, Inge, and Laird due up in the bottom of the ninth. Neither team has scored through 8. Olivo tonight 0 for 3, batting in the cleanup slot for Kansas City. Lyon in search of a 1-2-3 inning. But with the way that Brandon has been pitching in the 8th inning and the way that Rodney has been able to close out games, it has become a very nice 1-2 combination in the back. You throw in Bobby C, and it's been really potent.
Usually game over.
And there's a 1-2-3 inning for Brandon Lyon. We will go to the bottom of the ninth. It features Thames, Inge, and Laird.
The 6th inning, Willie Bloomquist had just singled. He was on first base. He has 18 steals this year. Gerald Laird behind the plate, one of the best throwing catchers in all of baseball, and he throws him out with a strike to Polanco. Outstanding throw by Gerald Laird, our Mercedes-Benz attention assist of the game.
So the Tigers coming to the plate now here in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they will try and win it walk-off style here in a 0-0 game. And this crowd is primed here tonight to have a nice celebration here in the bottom of the 9th. It'll be Marcus Thames to lead it off.
We do know that Marcus is standing in scoring position as we speak. He's got that kind of power.
Big swing and a miss, 0-1. Roman Colon is out there for his 2nd inning of work. Thames, Inge, and Laird due up here in the 9th inning. Each team with 3 hits, neither team with a run. It'll be decided by the bullpens tonight. Tigers pitching, by the way, has not allowed a run now in the last 21 innings.
It's impressive.
Two and one on Marcus. Grounded foul. Tigers last won a 1-0 game on May 8th at Cleveland. That was that Verlander-Cliff Lee game where Grandy made his big catch to preserve that victory. All they need is one here in the bottom of the ninth. The 2-2. 3-2.
Straight pitches from Cologne. 3 breaking balls, 2 fastballs, all away from Marcus Thames.
Swing and a miss. Stayed away again and struck him out. So he's retired 4 straight. It's his second strikeout. There's Brandon Inge. Inge 0 for 3, fanning his last 2 times up. Strike 1. The 3 Tigers hits tonight. Granderson has 2 of them, a single and a double, and the other was a base hit by Marcus. Greinke walked 4 before departing. Checked it. Did he go? Nope. He held up. Call Schreiber down at first. 2-1. Swinging a drive, hit high, hit deep to left field, way back. This one has a chance, and it's gone. A walk-off home run for Brandon Inge. 23rd home run of the season, and the Tigers win it in walk-off fashion tonight. Inge is the hero tonight for the Tigers. His 4th career walk-off home run. Last time he did it against these Royals. Big hug from Leland and a big smile from Inge. Almost 35,000 fans celebrating tonight in the Brandon Inge home run.
Cologne had a pretty good breaking ball today, but that one he leaves up. Appeared to be a fastball. Brandon climbed the ladder, got underneath it, and uppercutted it out of here. DeJesus running out of room. That's big. That is big. And we're going to make it our bell tire pitch by pitch. Cologne throwing a lot of breaking balls to Timms. Also throwing lots of breaking balls to Brandon. The check swing. Count now 2-1. Fastball climbed the ladder, elevated, and he shot it.
Just the second home run since the All-Star break for Brandon Inge, but boy, is it a biggie. And the bench absolutely loves it.
They didn't know what to do.
Right now, we send it down to Mickey York, a preview of Tigers Live. Mick? Ballpark, courtesy of Inge.